Aira grabs her bag, her heart pounding as she flees through the streets of her city. She doesn't dare look back to see if the Imperial walkers are close behind her. Beside her, Lyra runs with equal determination, her white hair streaming behind her like a banner of defiance. As they reach the edge of town, the sight before them makes Aira gasp. A huge fleet of silver ships dominates the skyline, their hulls emblazoned with the insignia of House Oriana, the very people who had enslaved her kind for generations. The invaders have come for the ancient artifact hidden within her city. Lyra suddenly stops, placing a hand on Aira's shoulder. "There's another way out of here," she says, pointing to a dark opening in the rocks above them. An abandoned air shaft. "It should lead us to the Smuggler's Cove." Aira hesitates. The shaft looks dangerous, but what choice do they have? The invaders are almost upon them. With a deep breath, Aira nods, and together they scramble up the rocks into the darkness. After what seems like an eternity, the sound of heavy footsteps fades behind them. When they finally reach the top and turn around, Aira finds herself face to face with the most handsome man she has ever seen. He's tall and lean with tousled black hair and eyes that gleam like polished emeralds. His lips curve into a playful smile. "Well, hello there," he says, his voice a rich baritone. "Didn't expect such a thrilling entrance, did you?" Before Aira can respond, Lyra steps forward, her expression serious. "Dax Orion," she says, "we need your help." The man's smile fades and he steps aside, gesturing for them to enter. "What seems to be the problem?" he asks. Lyra wasted no time in explaining their dire situation. As the leader of a notorious band of smugglers, Dax knew every inch of the Outer Rim, including the secret routes the Imperial Navy would never dream of following. When she mentioned the ancient relic hidden in Aira City, his eyes widened in surprise. "So the rumors are true," he murmured. "House Oriana is after the Starfire amulet, and we need to get off this planet before they find us," Aira adds, her voice trembling with fear. Dax's gaze flickers from one girl to the other, his expression unreadable. "Why should I help you?" he asks finally. "Because it's the right thing to do," Lyra says simply. Dax throws back his head and laughs, a rich, throaty sound. "The right thing," he echoes, shaking his head. "That's the most ridiculous reason I've ever heard." "Then what would be a good reason?" Aira challenges him, her chin lifting in defiance. Dax's eyes meet hers, and she feels a jolt run through her. For a moment, he just stares at her, and then he shrugs. "All right, you've got yourself a deal," he says with a grin. "But do you want to think for a second that I am doing this out of the goodness of my heart?" With that, he leads them down a narrow passageway and into a cavern filled with all kinds of strange and wonderful vehicles. Aira's eyes widen in amazement as she takes it all in. There are sleek, swift-looking ships, sturdy transport craft, and even a few battered "Which one do you want?" Dax asks, raising an eyebrow at the two girls. Lyra wastes no time in choosing a ship. She strides over to a sleek, silver-gray vessel with a single yellow stripe along its side and throws open the canopy. "This one," she declares. Aira follows her gaze and can't help but agree. It's the most beautiful ship she has ever seen. But it looks fast. How will she manage in something like that? Lyra must sense Aira's hesitation because she turns around and places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry," she says, her voice soft but firm. "You'll be fine." Aira manages a shaky smile, but inside she's anything but confident. Still, she won't let Lyra see that. With a deep breath, she walks over to the ship and climbs in after Lyra. As they buckle themselves in, Dax leans closer, his eyes twinkling. "So where to first, ladies?" he asks. "Galvra Prime," Lyra says without hesitation. "We need to get to the planet Galvra Prime." Dax's eyebrows shoot up. "Ah, so you're headed to the Great Race," he says with a grin. "Well, you picked a fine ship for that journey." The Nebula Runner, as the sleek silver craft was called, was indeed a fine vessel, built for speed and agility. It was perfect for traversing the treacherous asteroid fields of the Hyades sector, but it was also lightly armed, which worried Aira. As they entered the asteroid field, enemy ships filled the view screen, their weapons fire streaking toward the Nebula Runner like angry bees attacking a hive. Adrenaline surged through Aira as she clung to her seat, bracing for impact. But miraculously, the ship shook off each explosion as if it were made of iron. And just when it seemed like they might be overwhelmed, Dax wove through the debris field with a daring maneuver, emerging on the other side with all 6 of his engines still intact. "Holy!" Aira breathed, leaning back against her seat, her heart still pounding. Yeah, Lyra added with a smile. I knew you could do it. Dexton grinned, ruffling his hair. Just trying to impress the ladies, he said with a wink. Hey, next stop, Gravitas Prime. Any tips on how to land a ship on a planet with no atmosphere? Lyra shakes her head, a playful smile on her lips. Nope, not really. That's part of the adventure, isn't it? Aira couldn't help but laugh, the tension finally leaving her shoulders. For the first time since the invasion began, she felt a sense of ease wash over her. Maybe, just maybe, they would make it. As the planet Galvra Prime loomed larger and larger in the view screen, Aira's heart pounded with anticipation. The fabled planet, home to the Great Race and the last remaining celestial relic, was finally within reach. But as their ship pierced through the clouds, she noticed something disturbing. The landscape below was barren, scorched, and lifeless. Where were the lush jungles and sparkling rivers she had read about? Lyra must sense her disappointment, because she turns to Aira, her expression grave. The seventh celestial relic is powerful, she says, her voice hushed with reverence. It can heal a dying world, but it also attracts those who seek to control it, both friend and foe. As they descended further, Aira saw the truth of Lyra's words. Scattered across the desolate landscape were the crashed remnants of various spacecraft, each bearing the insignia of a different powerful house. The planet's surface was a graveyard of fallen ambitions, but amidst the wreckage, Aira spotted something else, a faint glimmer in the distance. Hope surged through her. Could that be the Starfire amulet? With a determined nod, Lyra took control of the ship, guiding them towards the mysterious light. As they approached, the full scope of the planet's devastation became clear. Entire cities lay in ruins, reduced to rubble and twisted metal. Yet amid the destruction, the relic pulsed with an otherworldly glow, beckoning them closer. Aira's gaze locked onto the amulet, a strange mix of awe and trepidation washing over her. This relic held the key to restoring balance to the Force, but it was also tied to unimaginable power that could shape the galaxy. The weight of their quest pressed down on her, reminding her of the immense responsibility they now carried. Landing the ship in a secluded canyon, Dax gave them one last warning. Once you leave the ship, I'm not coming with you, he said, his voice serious. This relic? It's too dangerous. If the houses catch wind that I helped you, I could be in trouble. Lyra nodded understandingly, but Aira couldn't help but feel a pang of disappointment. She had grown fond of the charming smuggler during their journey, and now he was leaving them. Still, she knew he was right. The Starfire amulet was too powerful to risk exposure. Wasting no more time, they gathered their supplies and prepared to venture out into the ruins. The moment they stepped out of the ship, the oppressive silence of the wasteland hit them. It was a stark contrast to the bustling activity of the smuggling cove, and it served as a constant reminder of the danger that lurked around every corner. As they moved through the desolate landscape, each step echoed with the weight of history. The ruins whispered tales of a once thriving civilization, a stark reminder of the legacy they were now a part of. But amidst the eerie silence, Aira and Lyra pressed on, driven by their shared purpose. The fate of countless worlds hung in the balance, and they wouldn't let it slip away.